I'm a man of many times, many faces, many paths, many mistakes and many victories. My spirit has walked 1,000,000 miles, and it'll probably walk 1,000,000 more. Your lips can only tell stories, but footprints can lead the way for one to truly see another's character. And every few hundred years emerges a human that can change the world's perspective and emotion. A traveler.
I'm going to explain my top 5 springtime bass fishing lures that I use, that I have success with, since it is coming up. And once the snow and cold gets out, we'll be making some fishing videos for the upcoming season. So I'll get started with the first lure, which is a jerkbait. Use quite a bit of these for the cold water, slow action, you know. Very many different sizes, colors. I guess there is different depths for jerkbaits. I don't know why it took me so long to think about that. And then I would use this along deeper water with vegetation, maybe deeper, go above the vegetation, because they're going to be looking up out of the grass or whatever they're in. I really don't recommend throwing these in dirty water. I never really had success with really dirty water. Stained water is fine, but I really like throwing them in clear water if you can get that. There's translucent colors, which I would use, like this one, in the clear water. It's got, you know, the chartreuse right there and the blue back. They're going to see that pretty well. I'd recommend this chrome whitish color in the stained water. You probably could use this, being that there is white in the dirty water, but you'd probably want it to be all white in the dirty water so they could see that a little bit better. But I'll have, after this, I'll have slides show you like the depths and what degree of water to have for it, and what I recommend throwing at the time. I'm going to go on to my second one, which is the lipless crankbait. I recommend red. For some reason, in the springtime, red slays the bass. I don't care if it's a worm, crankbait, spinnerbait. I don't know if they make a red jerkbait. I ain't got one, but they could. They just, for some reason, like the red color. It's my personal preference, so I mean, if you want to throw a different color, you can. Not real sure, again, why they like it, but I like to use these when the water gets a little bit warmer. I'll throw it near vegetation. There is another smaller size, I believe. Yeah, I got a smaller size of the lipless. As you can tell, they're not the same size. They're a little bit different sizes. They come in different colors as well. I got the shad chartreuse, and then I got a bass one in there. Looks like a bass. But that would be my recommendation. I would probably say if you're fishing a grassy pond, I'd probably hit it before the grass really starts growing really good. But if you're in a lake or pond that has grass, throw this near that vegetation. Third one is going to be a chatterbait. This is my all-time favorite lure. I use these year-round. If you ask any of my fishing buddies, I have this on spring, summer, fall, and winter. These are my go-to baits. I love them. I'll use these when the water gets a little warmer, but I'll still use them when it's cold outside. For some reason, they like it. But that's just me. There's different colors. I mean, you got the white chartreuse back, and you just got the plain white. there's black and blue. I don't got that lure with me right now, but then I got this one. It's a perch color, but if you got a lot of perch in your pond, or they might see that as a bluegill, they might see that as a different type of fish. I don't know how well you guys can really see the color why it's in the package, but I would throw the white ones in clear water, better to see. The black and blue ones would be dirty water, really dirty water. They will see that just fine. And then I don't have my green one with me, but something green, bluegill color would work in a stained water, but it would also work in clear water as well. You know, when I throw chatterbaits, when I think the fish are maybe getting more shallow, maybe feeding a little bit, and thinking about going up to spawn, that would be the good time to use them. Shallow water for sure. You could throw it in very deep water if you let it sink down. Vegetation is a good key. Throw it near it. I wouldn't throw it in it because then you're going to get all tangled up. But there is an alternative bait, which is the spinner bait. I personally would rather use the chatterbait over the spinner bait, but again, red. Red would be the great color to use. If it's windy, you know, this would be great up in a cove. You toss it in there, a group of fish. Bass are going to be eating, doing whatever they need to do, protecting their beds or whatever. And then there's a couple other colors. You got green and yellow and white, and there's also black. You could throw red in clear water, white and green in clear water, and you could throw your black and white in the dirty water. Stained water would go same for the reds, the green and the white. And then my other bait would be a shallow crank, whether that's a square bill, wake bait, or whatever, something that moves shallow, imitates a bluegill or a shad or whatever's in your pond or lake. I haven't said it much, but bluegill colors are the best. They're both moving up for spawn. For some reason, the bass just do not like bluegill, even if they're not spawning. But I got a deep diving crankbait here. I don't have my shallow crankbait for my bluegill, but you can see it definitely looks like a bluegill on there. I got my square bills, white one, and I got a chartreuse one to show you. What I would use the chartreuse with the black back would be in dirty water, very dirty water, I would say, muddy brown water. And then when it comes to clear, I would use the white or the bluegill color to get those fish in the right. But like I said, I would definitely stick with the bluegill colors as much as possible because of the spawn. And these would be the three main moving baits I would use during the springtime. You could use a swim jig. That's also another moving bait you could use. The fourth bait is going to be the jig, and I also use these year round. You got the black and blue. You also got the green pumpkin, and then I have a little red oranges crawdad one. But if you have a cold front come through and it starts warming up, throw these near cover, because the fish after that cold front are going to be a little finicky. They're not going to bite much, but you throw a jig in front of their face, they're definitely probably going to pound it. I would throw these against the rocks in deep water and against trees. They're definitely going to hug that cover in the springtime while it's still a little cold but starting to warm up. They're going to sit next to that cover to stay kind of warm. And then I think I already mentioned I use these all year round, just like my chatterbaits. Those two are my go-to baits. I always have one tied on no matter where I'm at. But this would be the blue, black and blue, and the green pumpkin would be your two main colors, which is basically every fishing lure you have, maybe besides your jerk baits and crankbaits and stuff. Again, another bluegill color. You want that to imitate bluegill. You can put a crawl on the back of this. You can put a swim bait on the back of this, fluke or twisty tail or whatever you want to call them. See, I already said trees. And I don't know if you ever heard, but some people say that the bass get lockjaw. If they're not biting other lures, this would be the great lure to throw. Oh, I forgot to mention, it'd also be good in deep water and near cover. You could also use this in very shallow water, probably not too shallow, but shallow enough. And dirty water is going to obviously be your black and blue, and then stained would be your black and blue again, your green pumpkin, clear water, green pumpkin. If you want to throw an ordinary color, if that's what the color crawdad you have in your area. I just have one for the color. If they're not biting the black and blue or green pumpkin, I'll put this on and see what they're biting. And then my fifth lure would definitely be a shaky head. I just put a random worm on there instead of just having the hook out. But shaky heads work. You can do a drop shot or a Ned rig. I should have got a Ned rig out, but Ned rigs are probably the #1 bass lure of all time. Ned rigs are for more numbers and not sizes. You'll catch more littler bass than quantity bass, or quality bass, not quantity. You'll catch more quantity bass on a Ned rig. And it's if you're just having a tough day out on the lake or pond and you're just not catching nothing, throw on a Ned rig. They will definitely eat that stuff. They will go after it, but they're not going to be very big. I'm not saying you won't catch a big one, but most likely your smaller fish are going to eat it. But again, shaky head would work also. Throw it on rocks in very light cover, deeper water. I recommend in dirty water, June bug or black and blue. Stained water, probably your green pumpkin, watermelon, normal green, and then clear water, watermelon and white, kind of like this lure here. You could throw maybe a different type of color, red. I know there's some red lures out there, but I would probably stick with the ones I said, but I'm no expert, so I hope some of these tips helped you out, and I hope I didn't talk too long, and I hope I didn't talk too fast. But like I said, I'll have slides after where I'll show you the different depths, and not different depths, but the water you should probably be throwing it in, cover and stuff like that, degree of water, the color of the water, and what you should throw, what color you should throw. And I hope this really helped you out. Thanks for watching.